Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at two of these Noma light sets. Both of these sets are Canterbury Belles, however each one represents a completely different era of bulb technology. So we're going to be taking a look at both, seeing how they look and figuring out which one looks the best, and talking about both of their advantages and disadvantages. On the one hand we have a 20 set here. This uses the old filament type bulbs. These produce a really nice warm glow that we all know and love about Christmas. And the 80 set here is Noma's LED equivalent, trying to represent the old style lights but using modern LED technology. And if you're thinking, hey, that says 40 not 80, I'm actually recording the box of the 40 set that I've already got up, and the set I'm actually showing in the video is a new 80 set that I've unboxed. Yeah, I don't know why I made it so confusing. So I hope that you'll enjoy the video. So let's start things off with a question. Which one of these do you think is the newer Noma LED light? A or B? This one's a little bit easier, same again. And this one should be pretty obvious, but there we go. So if you want, lock your answers in down below, but let's see which is which. So for the first image, the LED version is A. Now if you're like me, you may be thinking the old sets had quite dim blues and greens, so you might think this super bright blue on the right here is definitely the LED, but no it's not, this is actually the original filament. However, once you sort of know, you can kind of see it. I will admit, however, in this image the blue LED does appear really dim, but it's not quite this dim in person. In the second image, the LED one is A again, and you can sort of tell which one is the filament bulb just by the way the bulb looks on the right hand one in this image. The light output also gives it away. The position of where the light is coming from inside the bell is a clear giveaway of which one of these is the original. And the final image, this one should be pretty easy. B is the LED one in this image, and you can tell this because the filament bulb that is on the left, you can see some of that white light shining through and a kind of slightly burnt effect of the paint on the bulb. But this isn't to say that's the true giveaway, because there's a little bit of white light bleeding through on the LED set as well, which really does add to the authenticity of it. So yeah, let me know if you were surprised by the results down below, or if you just knew straight away. I'm curious to know how convincing the LED set are. There's a few subtle differences between the sets. Obviously the old school set has much thicker cabling, and it seems to have a bit more colour in some of the bells as well, compared to the LED set, which has much thinner wires as it's very little power usage, and the bells seem a little bit more washed out, but still very colourful nonetheless. The Noma set is run directly off the mains, it just has a UK plug. This means the set sees 230 volts. The bulbs share this current using a roughly 12 volt each and about 1.1 watt per bulb. This puts the set nearing using 22 watts, which isn't a lot, but quite a bit considering the size of the set. However, the new set comes with a power supply adapter. This runs the set at 5 volts, meaning it could be converted to USB, and runs them at 1.35 watts, which is incredibly low, especially considering this is 4 times the amount of lights compared to the original Noma filament set I've got. 4 times the amount of lights, and barely even a watt of power compared to the 22 watt set with 20 lights. Incredible. Now the LED set, if a bulb goes, the rest of the set can carry on, and they're normally wired in series parallel combos, so they'll have a series of lights wired in parallel with another series, and so on and so on. This is why on some LED sets you might find you lose a whole chunk of lights and the rest stay on. Whereas, as we all know with the filament sets, if one bulb blows, the whole set will either go out, or they may have the ability to keep the set running, but as soon as one bulb blows, the rest of the bulbs are now seeing a higher voltage. And if a few blow, it'll just cause a cascading effect and the rest will all burn out. The idea of the fuse bulb is there to prevent this. The fuse bulb will be slightly lower wattage, so it will see a little bit more power, thus making it the weakest link of the set. But I'm sure a lot of us don't miss having to try and find what bulb has made the whole set stop working whenever we get the decorations out, and inevitably plug them in to find they're not working. In fact, this set here, even doing this video, kept flicking on and off one of the bulbs at a slightly loose connection. You know what I mean. But at the same time, these LED sets are pretty much not repairable unless you know what you're doing and are happy to dissect them and reheat shrink them and do a bit of soldering. You can't replace the bulbs on these sets. For most people, once they fail, they fail. Obviously, in terms of safety, the LEDs take that here because they're extremely low voltage. You can touch an open wire, it won't give you a shock. And of course, using them outside, if they're going to get wet, this is just so much safer. Perhaps this is an unfair comparison here because the original set isn't actually an outdoor rated set. Now we need to get into the real part of the video. How do these lights compare when they're actually powered on and lit up? Now, while I can argue how great all the perks of the LED sets are, I can't argue with the light output or the colours. The filament bulbs just output the best warm glow of light, and the coloured shades just make such amazing looking colours. Now, there's reasons for this. The filament bulbs emit a full spectrum of colour. They are just normal white bulbs after all, with paint on the top of them, that block out all the wavelengths of light that we don't want to see. So the red paint, for instance, only lets red light through. The issues with LEDs, and why we can't just slap coloured paint onto LEDs, is they don't emit a true full spectrum of colour. They just emit parts taken from it. So even with some really high quality phosphor on top of warm white LEDs, we can't quite get the same wavelengths, and I think this is part of the problem. I'm not sure if Noma have made their own set of white lights here with high quality phosphors. They've done a pretty good job, but I will admit things like the reds really don't come through as red on this set. They're more of an orange. Things such as the greens and blues, the yellows, and even the pinks, they do come through really well. The greens and blues aren't quite as bright. In fact, they're quite dim on this set, and surprisingly, the filament ones had really bright greens and blues. I remember them being quite dim, but no, this set they're really quite bright. In fact, I have to run this set on a dimmer because they're just so bright. This also means they're going to run hotter and get fried quicker, so running them on a dimmer prolongs bulb life as well. One thing that surprised me is the LED set is actually really dim in comparison to the old school filament set. I thought it'd be the other way around. I don't mind this at all though. I do quite like to have dimmer light sets. Let's be real, most of the LED lights nowadays, unless they're outside, are just way too bright for indoor use. You have to wear sunglasses to enjoy your Christmas tree when it's indoors. So them being a bit dimmer really is a feature and not a letdown. And the colours are pretty good. Obviously, if you want a LED set with all the LED perks that looks like an old school set, and it does produce a very nice warm glow, this is sort of your only option, but it is a good option nonetheless. But I'm not going to argue, for looks, the filaments do take the win. You'll have to let me know down below which one of the two you prefer. Power usage and safety aside, just based on looks, which one would you go for? But again, if you have to factor it all in, which one would you then choose? Do let me know down in the comments below. You'll also have to let me know if you think Noma have got this pretty good, or do you think there's a bit more work needed to be done here. I think it's a pretty good step in the right direction, but I don't think they're quite there yet. The main thing for me though, the red just isn't red enough, but being my favourite colour, perhaps that's just a me problem. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed checking out both these light sets and seeing them side by side. You'll have to let me know what you think about them in the comments. If you want to see either of these sets in closer detail, I've done a video on each. I'll leave a link to them at the end. I've also done some other Christmas light videos. If you want to check them out as well, do be sure to look at the channel. And I've got one more Christmas light video to come up of my Christmas light decorations for 2024. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.